YouTube, this is Charlie426, and today we have another SHF review. This is the SHF Kamen Rider G3. Now recently I was watching Kamen Rider Zio, and then Kamen Rider Zio was going into the Kamen Rider Agito arc. And when that was going on, I never even thought or expected to see Kamen Rider G3. At best, maybe G3X, or heck, maybe G4, or at least a reference of G4 like how they did in Kamen Rider Decade, but no, they actually showed the Kamen Rider G3, and in the main series, the original series Kamen Rider Agito, they tried to mass produce the G3X, or at least, the units. And what, as far as I remember, is that the cost was too much, so they decided to scrap that plan. But in Zio, they decided to mass produce the G3, and they succeeded. And the fact that now it's mass produced and it's very militaristic or police-isk, it really got me into buying its SHF. Now the SHF is pretty old at this point. This came out in 2010, so it does share some of the old odd issues that's going on, but that's a really minor thing to me, or at least for this figure. Now, as usual, we're gonna go with the components, articulations, and anything other to notice. And I would like to mention Kamen Rider G3. He's a very interesting Kamen Rider. He's not your usual rider that we usually see, and he's a very, very artificial or very human-made, human technology-based rider. So he's a very, very good example of a man-made rider. Okay, so let's go with some components. So first of all, what you get, of course, you get the main rider G3 itself. You get 2 fists for the hands, and something regarding the hands I need to mention. Now we get 6 more hands. Currently you see 5 because one of them is the multi-purpose hand for the right hand, and I just wanted to save time, so I attached it to this handle, which you will see what it's for later. So other than that, you get another multi-purpose hand for the left hand, which we won't be using, and then we get 2 open hands left and right. So yeah, these are the natural open hands. So yeah. So once again, you get that for left and right, and then we get 2 trigger fingers for left and right, which I will be only showing the right one for now. And regarding the hand, I think it should have another hand, because on the box art you can see it's doing a salute. That's a open straight hand, and we do not get that, which makes me very confused. Sorry about that. So I'm really hoping once I get Kamen Rider G3X, it will have that hand. If not, there's something definitely wrong going on here. Because if there's one thing I hate, is that it's that the box showing something that the figure or the model kit can't do, or showing something that it doesn't have. Okay, so now let's get the other stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna put away the hands. We get a gun. I think this was called the Scorpion. Yeah, I'm not gonna go with the model number. There's like GX something, but I'm not going with the number. This is the Scorpion. This is basically like a very powerful pistol. Yeah, this is a pistol, although I'm not really sure how they reload it in the series, because I don't think I've ever seen it. And then we get a extension for the pistol, which if you attach it right over here, it becomes a grenade launcher, like that. And I did not expect this to have this cocking action. Yeah, this pumping action. Yeah, I didn't expect it to see this, but while taking pictures, I realized this could move. So definitely a big bonus. Of course, the inside is kind of filled up, so yeah. I know some people prefer that way, or some people prefer it the empty way, or whatever. And then we get a grappling hook. This actually just attaches to the arm right away. But the interesting thing about this weapon is that, or I'm not sure if this should be called a weapon, this was never actually used in the main series. This I don't know why, but they had plans and they decided not to use it. And oddly enough, in every game that you can use G3X, like on the PSP Climax Fighters, I believe, you can actually use this, but you can only use this with G3X. G3 is not even in the game, so the G3X could use this, but yeah, kind of odd. But other than that, this is just the whole single piece. You cannot detach the front part, so there's no wire action going on here. And then finally, we get to one of the most interesting weapons that we don't usually see: a chainsaw. Yes, a police type Kamen Rider using a freaking chainsaw. Now that is amazing. So the way how this works is that usually the handle will be inside here. So the way how you're supposed to attach is that you take this part out, you attach the hand, and then you have to reattach this, and then reattach it here, and then back you attach the arm to that, because of this part you can't attach the arm here and then do this, because obviously this is going to get in the way. But if you don't want to do that, what you can do is just you put the handle inside, and while the handle is inside, you can just jam the hand in there and then reattach it. So it's really up to you, but this is how you're supposed to do. And here's the chainsaw. We have this part that covers up the hand. Very nice. This is not a blade. This is a chainsaw, which is more like an electrical chainsaw, I believe. And you can fold this up in a very Exia-ish style of way of folding, or Astrea, or whatever. So who knows? Maybe the Exia's main concept or weapon concept came from G3 or G3X. Alright, now let's get on to the articulation. So I'm going to take away my rotating stand, and let's get on to the articulation. Now, this is the G3, not the G3X. The G3X I'm going to get soon. The G3 is like the initial phase of the Rider, and the reason why it's called G3 means it's generation 3. Because the G3, believe it or not, is supposed to be based on Kuga. So while it doesn't exist in the SHF line, but in the SIC storyline, not the I don't think it actually exists as a SIC figure, but in the SIC line they show the G1, which actually looks almost identical as Kuga, but with a more mechanical look on the belt and here and there. So yeah. So here we go with the head. Now I shouldn't mention the V-fin, or the fins on the top head. Those are definitely looking fragile. So be careful with that part. You don't want to drop, when you drop the figure, you don't want to drop it like this, or you're gonna break those horns. Okay, so the head articulation. I believe the head definitely is more simple compared to the G3X. The head can go down that much, and then up that much, and then 360 twist is surprisingly possible, because some Rider figures, they can't do that. And I really love those red eyes, and those horns are supposed to like resemble Kuga's, but it's kind of a stretch, to be honest. And on the side we have these extra details going on. Also, the main reason why I said this is a very interesting and different Rider is that despite being a Kamen Rider, this Rider does not transform in the way how normal Riders do. In normal Kamen Riders, they will wear the belt and then do something, and then they transform. In G3 or G3X or G4's case, that's not the case. You can see they do have a belt, but that's just a belt. This is an entire armor suit. So the way like how Iron Man wears his Mark III suit, you have to wear it like that. So you have to like manually wear every part individually. So yeah, and let's look at the chest. I really like the chest going, a very metallic design, and definitely that's the Japanese police mark as far as I know. Somehow I can imagine Japan actually making something like this in the future, for some reason. But yeah, I don't want to I'm not saying this in a bad way, but this really looks Japanese-ish. So the body has a nice ab crunch going on. You can't go 360 because I think it's that black middle shape going on. It's not actually a round shape, but more of an oval shape. So yeah, you can go, so let's say less than 90 degrees, and let's get the back. The backpack, very simple backpack. These are not holes, those are just black paint, and there's a big gaping hole there, which makes me wonder. The shoulder part has the giant ball joint going on, so you can rotate the shoulder itself 360. It has a backward and forward movement going on. You can open up the flaps of the shoulder armor and can go 90 degrees to the side. 360 twist on the arm. And then a nice double jointed bend, but it's being collided with the armor. And I should have mentioned each arm looks different. So we have this one with a blue and silver. This one's just purely blue. And the hands are your typical SHF ball jointed hands, where the ball joint is on the arm and not on the hand. Okay, and one thing, like one of the issues that these old SHF figures has is the proportion. So you can see the arms may look a little bit too long, and some people say it looks a bit too skinny, but for me, I think this one's just right for me, at least. So yeah, and sometimes because of how the shoulder works, sometimes the shoulder will be like looking like this, not that much, but in the middle between that. So it may seems like it. So the arm position is very important if you want to make it look right. Okay, now let's look at the belt. Now, despite having a belt, it's not, the red section is like an indicator of how much energy it has left. And on this side, there's nothing there, just the switch looking thing. And then on this side, interestingly enough, we have the cable holes. Now, the interesting part of what I'm saying is that Only G4 actually utilizes this hole. G3X or G3 does not use this. So the only thing I can guess is that everything G3, G3X were all based on the G4 mold. The fact that they have this hole. When I review the G4, you'll get an idea what that is. Okay, now let's get the waist. Now I believe this has enough interesting waist armor because there's this blue part right over here, which I can't really move, but it works as like a slightly like a waist armor for the side waist. The leg, because of that, you can't go much 90 degrees up front. Same goes to the back. I don't think it can actually go back, but it has a nice side swivel going on. And then this also has that weird gimmick like how Kali's has. It has that weird gimmick where it tries to go like, yeah, okay, it does have that gimmick, but it's not as powerful as Kali's, so it's not as bad, so that's a plus for me. But yeah, it can go less than 90 degrees as well, and then it has a nice double jointed bend going on here, and you can see the black sections of the rider. This is actually like a leather rubber suit, so you can see like the rubber like wrinkles there, because once they apply all the armor, they now take out the air in the rubber, so it fits perfectly, so you can see the wrinkles there. That's a very nice detail. And then the feet has this nice articulated ankle, and you have a nice toe bend right over there. It's kind of, I think this might be die-cast metal, but I'm not really too sure because it's not too cold or not too warm. Okay, oh, and yeah, the belt sometimes will move like that. Okay, now we've seen the basic articulation of the rider. Now let's get the equipment. Now, like Kamen Rider Burst, this also has like that tricky issue where you have a trigger finger and you can fit the gun into the hand, but it's not really a perfect fit. So I'm going to show you guys this. So I'm putting the gun on the hand. Problem is, you can see the trigger finger, it's not like a perfect fit. You can see the trigger finger is barely into that hole. So this is like one of those common issues like the old figures. Like, even though you get the hand meant for the weapon, it doesn't have that perfect fit going on there. So, but either way, it does get the job done. But also there's one more question regarding this. Now, I've seen this rider, G3, carry this gun on the leg sometimes, but in this figure they do not provide that gimmick. Like G4 actually provides that, but this one does not, and despite that, it still has the hole for that gimmick. So yeah, kind of an odd thing, but yeah. Or I might need to rewatch Agito. It's been so long since I've seen the original series. But yeah, it's a nice gun going on. It has a scope, although I'm not really sure how a pistol would utilize a scope. As mentioned, I'm not going to attach this to the hand, but yeah, you can attach the extension part and make the grenade launcher. Very nice. And with that open hand for the left hand, you can do really nice poses, which you might have seen on my Facebook page. Okay, I'm going to take out the... Oops, come on. I'm going to take out the hand and then attach the grappling hook. It just plugs in, and there you go. Very nice. Although I'm not really sure how they would utilize this in battle. I mean, maybe if they have to climb a building, then we can talk, but yeah. And then finally, we get this part, the chainsaw gimmick. So I'm just going to reattach this. Now, reattaching the handle might be tricky because it has to be in the exact position. So you can see I'm kind of struggling to get it in. But once you get it in, you get that click noise. So once it's in, it's in. It doesn't fall off that easily. There we go. And then, wait, I think it's not connected yet. There we go. You need to have that click noise when you attach it. So we have the chainsaw. Very awesome weapon, if you ask me. It's kind of hard to imagine a police type, character using a chainsaw to attack their enemies. But then again, the enemies are monsters. So yeah, this is not meant for dealing with humans. And you can fold this up in very Exia-ish way of folding. It would be awesome if you can actually use this as like a knuckle fist. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the review. So if you really like this like police or militaristic genre of a character, I would recommend this because despite being a Kamen Rider, he's very like artificial, very metallic, very robotic looks into it. So yeah, the only thing that would be like kind of a bug theme would be the eyes, but other than that, I would recommend this for those who like that genre. Anyway, thank you for watching the review. This was the review of the Kamen Rider G3. I'm definitely going to get the G3X, and I have G4 in my position, so please stay tuned. Until then, see you guys next time!